Well, here we go. First entry in the video diary of the ALTUS Study Tour over here in Dallas for a couple of days, and then we are up to Vegas. So this is where we are. It's very early. It's kind of like 5:30 because the jet lag's kicked in for me. Yeah, and this is obviously downtown Dallas, the hotel I'm staying in there. So yeah, so really excited about today. We're off to a couple of pretty prominent sports teams, as you'll see. Yeah, and we had a great time last night. We went up to the American Airlines Stadium, watched the Mavs. Great bunch of guys. We're obviously going to get to know everybody this day, so going to learn a lot. Really over here to expand the knowledge base, see what other sports do, learn from a whole load of cool people. Yeah, and hopefully I'll get some sleep at some point. But yeah, stay tuned. First entry. Obviously, going to be some pretty cool stuff. We'll see. Spent the night and a bit of this morning reflecting on what I learned yesterday by visiting the Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Stars, and also ALTUS Performance, and having a bit of a brainstorming session with the rest of the team. So I think the major things that I picked out here, so I'll try and summarize nice and quickly. Facilities don't establish culture. I think it was raised a few questions of, can we almost go too far in player provisions? The facilities, everything was unbelievable at the Dallas Cowboys. But what I was really was kind of took back was, well, are they doing too much for the players? At the point, is there a struggle? Is there anything there that they need to encourage a little bit of grit in their players? So are they doing a bit too much? And I think, yes, it's important. You want to support your players, but can we go too far with that? So, but I mean, incredible facilities. $1.5 billion facility, absolutely amazing. And then the other major thing that kind of came out is effectively that, I think that the most important thing to develop is a culture and an ethos and get everyone on board with that. And that's something that's really kind of taken hold at these facilities, that they are doing a good job with that. But that guiding light is so important. I think, and I think the major thing there is that the inclusion of the coach that's involved, or the coaching and the ability to actually develop the coaching and the standard is really, really important. So lots of other areas, but there seem to be a few blind spots there in the organizations, to be honest. And then just from the conversations with the other guys, elite coaches, very, very focused on connecting with players and behaviors and the how to coach skills, as opposed to being overly centered on how to coach technique. So stay tuned. More to come. Great day planned. Stay tuned. So here we go. Here are my day 2 reflections of the ALTUS Study Tour. So what we did today is we had a workshop with Jared Tendler, who is a poker coach. We then went to the Texas Rangers, which is the baseball team based here in Dallas, and then we went round the AT&T Stadium, which is the home of the Dallas Cowboys, which is really cool. So my big takeaways. One thing that is different to what happens in the UK is that these companies build facilities and then try and build a legacy around them, which is quite unique, quite different to us. We tend to have it the other way, that you have clubs and then add the facilities. So also what I noticed that, a few of the coaches, they really take the time to understand that their culture of organization before imposing their will. So they're really careful in doing that. Now, oftentimes they don't have the time to actually impose what their culture and the things that they want to do, because they're not really in the job that long. But it's really interesting how they do take that little bit of time to really understand it. It's dead easy to jump in there and just impose what your philosophy or what your beliefs are too quickly. Another big thing was that came out was to reduce the gap between your C game and your A game when it comes to coach specific or as a player. So instead of working really hard to play better all the time, it's actually just raised the baseline up. Something that I think is really, really important, not said enough. Also, one thing that really came out was barriers from organizations for participation. So because of the draft and the way it works in baseball, the baseball teams don't really, there's no point having grassroots junior academies, because what they do is they'll develop these players, they get to the draft and they could just be taken. So and one of the things that the scouts do in the game is they really value the scouts or the coach's subjective opinion, as opposed to relying too much on technology to guide their coaching, which is quite interesting. So really good time over here. Stay tuned, more to come. Cheers. Here's what I took away from getting to spend the whole day with Cirque du Soleil and a little bit of time with the Platypus Institute, which is a neuroscience company. So one of the big things that I took away was the fact of the use of improvisation can really allow new motor patterns to emerge without any prior planning or any structure. So with the exercises that we did, it really removed a lot of barriers. It removed expectations and inhibitions, but what really allowed was new movements to occur, stuff that we'd never been trained to do, but it was pretty proficient. So that kind of surprised me. And the interesting thing was, when we kind of looked back at that after we had a reflection session, it was really amazing how the sessions themselves looked really chaotic and felt chaotic to us, but there was so much structure and planning to the sessions from the coach's perspective. It was pretty amazing. And that really got me thinking how, as a coach, we can get so wrapped up in what a player might need, we forget to kind of change our seat and look at it from their perspective to really kind of connect with what they might want. So I think that's that was quite an interesting kind of piece I took away. And I think that one of the main things that they really do with these kind of sessions is they expand people's comfort zone. They train and rehearse for problems to occur or mistakes to happen during the show. So then they're ready for it. They understand that it's not going to be perfect. So they train this adaptability and variability because they know things are going to happen. There's so many moving parts in these shows. So it's really, really important to kind of do that. And then in essence, one of the last things we picked up on was the fact that we've got so much we can learn and train from the neck down, but we've still got so much from the neck up. So there's loads and loads of things that we're still not doing that we need to focus on from the neck up. So yeah, stay tuned, more to come. So here goes, going to cram the last couple of days reflection in here, hopefully inside a couple of minutes. So some really cool stuff. Visited UFC Performance Institute and hung out with Wade Gilbert, who's the coaching doc. Really, really cool stuff. Main takeaways that I got from the couple of days was, in essence, start with the structure. So set intentions, actually do the coaching session and then reflect. That's what the best coaches do. I think it's really important with the reflection that you identify what you did well, what your weaknesses were, because you don't want to mistake activity for achievement. So you want to really make sure that you're working smart and avoid over planning. Just be really clear, nice and simple, and don't overwork as well. That's identify the task and then achieve it, then reflect on it. So and then when it comes to actually practice design, you really need to make sure that practice is adapted to the stress of the individuals, also associated with what you want to be achieving throughout the session. So that was really, really important. And then really when it comes to, we spoke the other day about establishing a culture. What we really mentioned was that the coach should embody that culture, and that coach should really know, we should walk the talk, but also know exactly why they do what they do, so they really connect, because that way they can instill that into the organizations that they work for. So it's really, really important that they have that principle and walk the talk. And effectively, the environment that you shape creates behaviors. So I think it's really, really important that what you can then do is you then provide a level of support, but also make sure there's freedom for the player to adapt. So really important. Yep, so great stuff. Great few days, and I'll do an overall review pretty soon. Cheers, guys. So I've been back from the ALTUS Study Tour for over a week now and spent a little bit more time reflecting and doing a little bit of application of what I've learned. So I just thought I'd share, a bit more from a global perspective about my key takeaways from the week. So the number one thing that I got from it was the best organizations really know why they are doing what they're doing, and the individuals within the organization know exactly why they do what they do, what gets them out of the bed in the morning. From understanding that motivation that gets them out of bed, they then have key principles that they hold themselves to day in, day out, so they make sure that they're at their absolute best. And I think the key there is that they also embody these principles and illustrate that by example to the players that they're coaching, their colleagues, and everyone around them. Because really from there, what that does is that actually creates a culture that everyone can get on board with. So say, for instance, if excellence is what you're trying to attain, you need to embody excellence in every aspect of what you do, the way you behave, the way you look after facilities. I think it's really, really important. And And then from that culture, you then effectively shape an environment of which either your colleagues or the people that you're assisting in the players that you're working with, you can then shape that. And ultimately, the environment needs to facilitate autonomy or really get players to look after themselves. Now, that's easy to say, but there also needs to be a fine line of enough structure to feel so the players feel supported and your colleagues supported, but enough room to grow and develop. And that also needs to be adaptable almost on a daily basis, because we're emotional human beings. So we need to be able to adapt that environment to those individuals. So there, I guess, the key takeaways from me. I hope you've enjoyed my little videos. Thanks for watching.